In this video, I'm going to share 6 things that I wish I knew before I undertook my first townhouse development project here in Melbourne. So if you are considering doing a project yourself, then stick around. Let's get into it. Hey guys, Peter Kelly here from Little Fish Property Developments. We help everyday landowners just like you maximise the value of their land through low-risk development projects. On this channel, we share everything you need to deliver successful projects time and time again. So if you aren't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. When undertaking a townhouse development, whether here in Melbourne or anywhere else, there are a lot of moving parts. If you are new to the game, then the learning curve can be steep, that's for sure. My goal is to fast track your knowledge by sharing some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned over many projects. The first thing I want to talk about is builder square metre rates. While these square metre rates can be handy to lean on in specific scenarios, they can be seriously unreliable and have potential to give you a bum steer. The issue is that they become somewhat distorted depending on the project size. When you have 2 projects with the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms, yet they are significantly different in size, this is where it can become problematic. If you think about it, a lot of significant expenses are going to be in the wet areas. This is where fixtures, fittings and finishes cost the most. The size of the bedrooms and living rooms, on the other hand, are less cost. Ultimately, the smaller dwelling still has the same amount of kitchen and bathrooms and relevant costs. So assuming that all square metres are the same cost is flawed. The fact is, figuring out the construction budget isn't as simple as multiplying the number of squares by your budget per square. You must support your numbers with knowledge and experience. Number 2 is assuming your plan will come together. One of the earliest and most important lessons I learnt developing townhouses in Melbourne was to never run off and buy another project while finishing the first one because you believed that it was going to be finished and settled when you thought. Don't start making moves on project number 2 if you haven't completely 100% finished that project. It's just too risky. Unless, of course, you have the money to fund both concurrently if the first one doesn't go to plan. These townhouse projects almost always cost more and take longer. Making big decisions on top of the assumption that your project will be completed by a specific time is extremely risky business. There is an old saying which rings true: if you get greedy, you get caught. So don't let your eyes get too big. Be patient and keep your risks to a minimum to avoid relying on the outcomes from another project to satisfy the next. It's just not worth the risk. The third thing I wish I knew was how difficult it is to find a good site. I say this all the time. Just because you can develop a site doesn't mean you should. These townhouse development sites in Melbourne can be like finding a needle in a haystack. The number of sites I look at and discard to find a feasible site is genuinely mind-blowing. Don't make the fatal assumption that just because a site can be developed, that it should be. Getting your site selection incorrect is the fastest way to lose your money. So make sure you do detailed research and get the right advice and help where required. Nailing your due diligence and feasibilities is going to be critical. Next up, number 4 is understanding how difficult it is to know what you can achieve on the site. It's not uncommon when starting out doing these townhouse development projects that you get this wrong. In fact, it's more common than not. What you thought you could achieve on the site and what actually can be achieved on the site can be starkly different, which can be a massive risk for obvious reasons. Getting this right with any level of confidence takes a lot of experience. This is something here at Little Fish we put a lot of value on. As such, we sink a lot of time and resource into getting better. It's something that we are always refining and working on. Number 5 is the level of effort that's required to sell the property off the plan for a premium. This is an area we definitely undervalued in the beginning. Not anymore. This is an area that we put significant time and effort into over the journey. Finding ways to give potential buyers the confidence they need to act is an art form in itself. It's another area that we're always looking to improve and evolve. There is no question we have seen a significant increase in our off-the-plan sales results as a direct result of the investment that we've made in this area. It's the little things that matter: attention to detail and being prepared to do what others either can't or aren't prepared to do in building that trust with the consumer. Number 6, we've spoken about this a lot on this channel, and that's how important it is to value time. When undertaking a townhouse development project, time is one of the biggest enemies. It's no secret that time costs money, and in many cases a lot of money, so you need to be all over it. Assuming that your contractors and providers are working on your project in a timely manner can be costly, especially when you're starting out. From experience, you can assume that you won't be sitting on the top of your contractor's pile and that you can expect to pay a premium for their services, particularly if your project is a one-off. Becoming a priority for your contractors can take years. In many cases, the strength of these relationships can be the difference between whether a project ends up feasible or not. So put time and effort into building and nurturing strong relationships because they will pay dividends in the long run. That's a wrap, guys. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments box below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Peter Kelly. Again, thanks for watching, and until next time, happy developing.